UPSC Prelims 2025 did not reward memorization, it rewarded interpretation, calm thinking, and elimination skills. And thousands of aspirants realized this too late inside the exam hall. I have gone through the entire Prelims 2025 GS Paper 1 and I want to show you something that most aspirants completely missed so that you don't commit mistakes in Prelims 2026. So listen carefully. UPSC was not testing what you know. It was testing whether you can think clearly under pressure with incomplete information in 72 seconds per question. In the next 15 minutes, I am going to break down 5 questions from 5 different subjects: history, geography, polity, economy, and science and technology, and show you exactly how UPSC set the trap and exactly how a serious aspirant should have escaped it. The trap was set in many other questions as well, but we can't discuss all of them in this one video. Stay with me. Because the pattern I'm going to show you today is not just about 2025. It is the pattern UPSC has been using for years, and it will appear again in 2026. Hi, I'm Rahul Tajnekar, your own UPSC mentor and coach, director of Rahul Sir's IS Academy Nagpur, and author of the book Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude, an ultimate guide to score 160 plus marks in GS Paper 4. I have appeared for the UPSC interview 3 times, and over 14 years, I have guided hundreds of aspirants through this journey. I know exactly where aspirants lose marks in this exam, and more importantly, I know exactly how UPSC designs questions that look straightforward but are built to separate those who understand from those who have only memorized. That is what we are going to break down today. Before I take you to the questions, I want to give you one principle. Write this down. UPSC Prelims is not a knowledge test. It is a thinking test with a knowledge base. What does that mean? It means that the knowledge you need, the facts, the concepts, the names, those are just the entry ticket. The real exam happens in the final 30 seconds of each question when you have narrowed it down to 2 options. Both look correct, both feel familiar, and one of them is a carefully designed trap. The aspirant who clears prelims is not the one who knows more, it is the one who eliminates better. Today I'm going to show you exactly how UPSC builds those traps and how you dismantle them. Let us begin. Question 17. Territories and rivers. Question 17 gave 4 ancient territorial regions paired with the rivers flowing through them: Asmaka, Godavari, Kamboja, Vipas, Avanti, Mahanadi, Kosala, Sarayu. The question asked, how many pairs are correctly matched? Now let me tell you what happened inside the exam hall. Most aspirants who had prepared ancient history recognized some of these immediately. Asmaka, Godavari, correct, familiar. Kamboja, Vipas, which is the modern Bias River, correct. Kosala, Sarayu, correct. Every aspirant who has read about the Ramayana knew this. And then they reached Avanti, Mahanadi. And here is where the trap snapped shut. Avanti was one of the 16 Mahajanapadas. It is in present-day Madhya Pradesh near modern Ujjain and Maheshwar. The rivers associated with Avanti are the Shipra and the Narmada, not the Mahanadi. The Mahanadi flows through Chhattisgarh and Odisha, nowhere near Avanti. So the correct answer was only 3 pairs. Now what was the trap mechanism here? Aspirants who had mugged up the Mahajanapadas as a list, name, capital, location, without visualizing the actual geography would have guessed Avanti Mahanadi as plausible, because Mahanadi sounds like it belongs to central India. This is what I call the familiarity trap. The name sounds right, the region sounds right, but the specific pairing is wrong. The lesson? Ancient history in UPSC is not about memorizing lists. It is about connecting civilizations to their geographical context. When you study Mahajanapadas, draw the map, locate each Janapada, identify the river. Because UPSC will test the exact pairing, not the concept. Tell me honestly in the comments, when you studied the 16 Mahajanapadas, did you memorize the list or did you draw the map? This one distinction changes everything about how you prepare history. Question 23. Water bodies and the equator. Question 23 listed 3 water bodies: Lake Tanganyika, Lake Tonle Sap, and Patos Lagoon. The question asked, through how many of them does the equator pass? This seems like a straightforward geography question, but watch how the trap works. Lake Tanganyika, located in East Africa, shared between Tanzania, the DRC, Burundi, and Zambia. Does the equator pass through it? No. It lies between roughly 3 degrees south and 9 degrees south, entirely in the southern hemisphere. Lake Tonle Sap, the large freshwater lake in Cambodia, located at roughly 12 to 13 degrees north, nowhere near the equator. Patos Lagoon in southern Brazil near Porto Alegre, located at approximately 31 degrees south, deep in the southern hemisphere. The correct answer is none of the three. The equator passes through none of them. Now, what was the trap? Lake Tanganyika is in Africa, East Africa. Many aspirants associate East Africa with the equator, and rightly so, because the equator does pass through Kenya, Uganda, and the DRC. But Tanganyika is in the southern part of the DRC, not where the equator passes. This is what I call the regional association trap. You correctly know that the equator passes through a region, but UPSC asks about a specific water body within that region, and the specific water body falls outside the equatorial belt. The lesson? For geography, do not study regions, study coordinates. When you read about any major lake, lagoon, or sea, note whether it is north or south of the equator and approximately at which latitude. 1 degree of latitude is the difference between a correct answer and a wrong one. Question 51. Ordinance power. This is the most deceptive question in the entire paper. Question 51 asked about ordinances and gave 3 statements. Statement 1. An ordinance can amend any central act. Statement 2. An ordinance can abridge a fundamental right. Statement 3. An ordinance can come into effect from a back date. The question asked which are correct. Most aspirants who had prepared polity confidently marked statement 1 as correct, and they were right with a nuance. Statement 2, an ordinance can abridge a fundamental right, is actually correct. Ordinances have the same force as acts of parliament, and parliament can abridge certain fundamental rights through legislation. So an ordinance can do the same, with the exception of Article 20 and Article 21. Statement 3, can come into effect from a back date, is also correct. The president can give retrospective effect to an ordinance. But here is where it gets dangerous. Statement 1. An ordinance can amend any central act. The word any is the trap. An ordinance cannot amend a constitutional amendment act. It cannot amend certain money bill provisions without specific procedures. So statement 1 as written with the word any is technically imprecise. This is what I call the absolute word trap. UPSC routinely inserts words like any, all, always, never, only, must into statements, and these absolute words almost always signal a false statement. Because in law, in governance, in administration, there are almost no absolute rules. Everything has an exception. Everything has a condition. Everything has a circumstance. The lesson for polity. Train your eye to stop at absolute words. When you see any, all, always, never, pause. Ask, is there even one exception to this? If yes, the statement is likely false. This single habit can save you 3 to 5 marks in polity alone. Question 65. Gross primary deficit calculation. This question was designed to trip up aspirants who had studied fiscal concepts theoretically but never applied them numerically. The question gave a scenario. Fiscal deficit is 50,000 crores. Non-debt capital receipts are 10,000 crores. Interest payments are 1,500 crores. What is the gross primary deficit? Let me show you the exact thinking process. Step 1. Understand the definition. Primary deficit equals fiscal deficit minus interest payments. That formula is what most aspirants remember. Step 2. Apply it. Fiscal deficit 50,000 crores minus interest payments 1,500 crores. Primary deficit 48,500 crores. The answer is option A, 48,500 crores. Now, where did aspirants go wrong? Many aspirants confuse the non-debt capital receipts figure as something to subtract. They thought 50,000 minus 10,000 minus 1,500 equal to 38,500, which was not even an option. So they second-guessed themselves, went back to their formula, got confused between gross primary deficit and net primary deficit, and either guessed or left it. This is what I call the distracted data trap. UPSC gives you one extra number in the question that has no role in the calculation. Its only purpose is to create confusion, to make you doubt your formula, to make you feel like you are missing something. The lesson: for economy numericals, write the formula first, then identify which numbers belong to it. Ignore everything else. The extra number in the question is not a hint, it is a distraction. A calm aspirant who knows the formula writes it down, fills in two numbers, and finishes in 40 seconds. A confused aspirant who is not sure of the formula spends 3 minutes on this question and still gets it wrong. Question 42. Unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. Question 42 gave three statements about UAVs. Unmanned aerial vehicles. Statement 1. All types of UAVs can do vertical landing. Statement 2. All types of UAVs can do automated hovering. Statement 3. All types of UAVs can use battery only as a source of power supply. How many of the above statements are correct? Now here is the genius of this question. All three statements are false, but each one feels instinctively true to an aspirant who has read about drones casually. Statement 1. All UAVs can do vertical landing. Fixed-wing UAVs, like military reconnaissance drones that look like small aircraft, cannot do vertical landing. They require a runway or a catapult launch and a net or runway recovery. Only rotary wing UAVs like quadcopters can do vertical landing. Statement 2. All UAVs can do automated hovering. Again, fixed wing UAVs cannot hover. They must maintain forward motion to generate lift. Hovering is only possible for rotary wing designs. Statement 3. All UAVs can use battery only as a source of power. Many UAVs use combustion engines, hydrogen fuel cells, or solar power. Battery is one power source, not the only one. So the answer is 0. None of the statements are correct. The trap mechanism here is what I call the generalization trap. UPSC took a technology that aspirants had read about in current affairs, drones, UAVs, and applied the most basic factual test. Do you actually understand how this technology works? Or have you only read headlines about it? The aspirant who read India launches UAV surveillance on borders in the newspaper knows UAVs exist but doesn't know the difference between fixed wing and rotary wing designs. The aspirant who actually understood the technology eliminated all three statements correctly. The lesson? For science and technology, current affairs reading is not enough. Every technology you read about, understand its basic principle of working, not at an engineering level, at a conceptual level. How does it work? What are its limitations? What types or variants exist? That conceptual understanding is what UPSC tests, not the headline. Now let me bring all 5 traps together because there is a single pattern running through every one of these questions. 5 questions, 5 subjects, 1 pattern. UPSC Prelims 2025 punished surface level preparation and rewarded depth. The history question punished list memorization and rewarded geographic understanding. The geography question punished regional association and rewarded coordinate level precision. The polity question punished rote learning of provisions and rewarded sensitivity to absolute words. The economy question punished formula confusion and rewarded clean conceptual clarity. The science and technology question punished headline reading and rewarded conceptual understanding of how technologies actually work. In every single case, the aspirant who had gone one level deeper cleared the question. The aspirant who had stayed at the surface got trapped. This is not a new UPSC strategy. This is the UPSC strategy. And the only answer to it is the same in every subject. Understand. Do not just memorize. Connect. Do not just collect. Apply. Do not just read. Now I want you to tell me in the comments which of these 5 traps do you think you would have fallen into? History, geography, polity, economy, or science and technology? Be honest. Write it below. I read every single comment. Before I close, something important. If you recognize yourself in any of these traps, if you thought, I would have fallen for that, that is not a reason to panic. That is the most valuable information you can have about your preparation right now. Because awareness of the trap is the first step to escaping it. The aspirant who watches this video and changes how they study history, geography, polity, economy, and science and technology will walk into the next prelims exam with a completely different level of clarity. The exam has not changed, but you can. Now, 3 things before you move on. First, tell me in the comments which of the 5 traps you would have fallen into. History, geography, polity, economy, or science and technology? Write it below. I read every comment. Second, if your prelims preparation feels scattered right now, if you want a structured, subject-wise preparation plan built specifically for you, book a one-on-one strategy session with me. The link is in the description. Fill the form and my team will get back to you. Third, for daily current affairs that actually prepares you for questions like the UAV and BIMSTEC ones we saw today, download our app. Free, structured, UPSC relevant. Link is in the description. And one more thing. Now that you understand how UPSC sets traps in prelims, watch this video to understand why ethics paper is the game changer for your final rank. Because prelims gets you to mains, but ethics is what decides where you stand in the final merit list. I am Rahul Tajnekar. Prepare with depth, not just with effort. I will